Rihanna stepped off the plane in Los Angeles, her baby bump barely visible beneath the comfort of her baggy sweats and oversized hoodie. It was a typical day for the megastar, yet it felt different, marked by an undeniable glow that only a few months of pregnancy can bring. The paparazzi were quick to capture her arrival, but Rihanna, as usual, didn't seem to mind the attention. She moved with her signature confidence, her posture impeccable despite the laid-back outfit. She had just returned from a whirlwind trip, her schedule packed with meetings, performances, and charity work. But today, she was focused on something else, her growing family. Despite being one of the most photographed women in the world, Rihanna had been protective of her pregnancy, carefully selecting when and how she shared moments of her new journey. This was one of the rare public appearances during her pregnancy, and she kept it simple. As Rihanna walked through the airport terminal, her loyal security team closely following, she kept her head high, a slight smile curving her lips. She knew the world was watching, but today wasn't about the glamour. It was about comfort, the comfort of being herself as her body changed, as her life was about to change in a way no one could have anticipated. Rihanna's choice of outfit that day, baggy sweats, sneakers, and a slouchy hoodie, was a testament to her ability to blend comfort with style effortlessly. Even in a casual look, she still managed to turn heads. The hoodie, slightly off her shoulder, revealed a hint of the glistening gold necklace she always wore, and her oversized sweats were perfectly paired with a pair of crisp white sneakers. Her hair was pulled back into a messy bun, and the casual appearance only added to her natural radiance. The baby bump that had been the subject of much speculation was clearly there now, though Rihanna's decision to dress in loose, flowy clothes made it a subtle reveal. It wasn't the first time she'd showcased her growing belly, but today it felt different, more prominent. The soft fabric of her sweats clung just enough to give a glimpse of the curve beneath, but it was clear that she was comfortable with her body, confident in every step she took. The media had been abuzz for months now, ever since Rihanna's announcement that she was expecting. Fans around the world had been eagerly awaiting any update, any glimpse of the superstar as she navigated her pregnancy. While many had speculated what her maternity style might look like, no one could have predicted the effortless cool she would bring to the table. From red carpet glam to airport chic, Rihanna was doing it all, and doing it on her own terms. As she moved through the terminal, Rihanna's phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced at it, a quick swipe of her finger unlocking the screen, but she didn't stop walking. The pings of messages seemed to have no effect on her as she continued with her entourage. It was clear that Rihanna was used to the chaos, the flashes of cameras, the constant hum of the world around her. She simply tuned it out, focused on the present moment. Her pregnancy, although a private journey, had become a cultural moment of its own. Rihanna, a fashion icon known for her bold choices, was now a style icon for the pregnant woman. Where other celebrities might go for form-fitting outfits to emphasize their bump, Rihanna was showing that comfort and style were not mutually exclusive. She was redefining the rules of maternity fashion, one comfortable sweatsuit at a time. Throughout the airport, Rihanna received nods of recognition from fans, many of whom stopped to take photos, respectfully maintaining their distance as the star made her way through. Rihanna smiled at them, acknowledging their presence with a small wave. There was no mistaking it. Despite being in one of the busiest airports in the world, she was at peace with herself. It was as if, in that moment, she was just a woman carrying her child, walking through life with the same grace and poise that had made her a global icon. Even though Rihanna was known for her show-stopping appearances, whether at the Met Gala, on the stage of the Super Bowl, or in the pages of high-fashion magazines, this was something different. This moment, this airport walk, was raw, stripped down, and real. It was a glimpse into a more personal chapter of her life. The baggy sweats, the baby bump, the smile, it all spoke volumes about who Rihanna was becoming in this new phase of her life. She was no longer just a pop star or business mogul. She was becoming a mother, a role that seemed to fit her as naturally as her signature style. Rihanna had always been about embracing her true self, unapologetically, and now, more than ever, she was embracing her pregnancy with that same authenticity. As the car pulled up to her waiting vehicle, Rihanna turned to take one last look around the airport. She paused for a moment, soaking in the scene, before slipping into the car with a content smile. The door closed, and she was gone, leaving behind a trail of wonder and admiration. The world would continue to watch, waiting for the next glimpse of Rihanna in her new chapter. But for now, she was content, simply enjoying the ride. It was clear that Rihanna was just getting started in this new role, and whatever came next, she would continue to redefine expectations, whether in baggy sweats or a couture gown. The car hummed quietly as it made its way through the busy streets of Los Angeles. Inside, Rihanna leaned back into the plush leather seat, her thoughts seemingly far from the chaos of the airport. The quiet of the ride was a welcome contrast to the flashing cameras and the buzzing of social media that had followed her since she first revealed her pregnancy. Rihanna's mind wandered, her eyes staring out at the passing cityscape, though she remained ever aware of her role as a global icon. But today, it wasn't the fans or the media that were at the forefront of her mind. It was her baby, the growing life within her, the new chapter of her life that had shifted her focus in ways she hadn't anticipated. Despite the glamour and the fame, Rihanna had always been vocal about wanting to balance her career and her personal life in a way that worked for her. And now, with her pregnancy, that desire had never felt more profound. She thought back to the early days when the news of her pregnancy had first leaked. The media had gone into a frenzy, speculation swirling about how this would affect her career, how her public image might change, and whether she would continue to be as involved in her business ventures. But Rihanna had always known she would do it her way. From her music to her fashion to her beauty line, she had carved a path that was uniquely her own, and motherhood was no exception. Rihanna's hands rested gently on her baby bump, a subtle but meaningful gesture that seemed to calm her. She had spent the last few months adjusting to the idea of becoming a mother, making preparations, and of course, continuing her work. In many ways, she saw her pregnancy as another phase of growth, not just personally, but also professionally. She was in the midst of planning new ventures, including a potential expansion of her Fenty empire. But even in the midst of all that, motherhood was now the priority. She smiled, realizing just how much her perspective had shifted. The soft, rhythmic hum of the car seemed to lull Rihanna into a brief moment of serenity. As her mind settled, she thought about the media's portrayal of her pregnancy. From the moment she stepped out in that iconic pink fur coat in Harlem, revealing her baby bump to the world, the narrative around her changed. It wasn't just about her as a fashion icon or a business mogul anymore. It was about her as a mother, and that role carried a different kind of power. For Rihanna, the public's fascination with her pregnancy felt almost surreal at times. It was one thing to be celebrated for her music, her beauty, and her business acumen, but it was entirely different to see how the world reacted to her journey into motherhood. It was a reminder of how personal life, when shared in such a public way, could create a sense of connection. And for Rihanna, that connection was something to cherish. Of course, she couldn't deny that it had been challenging at times too. Being under the constant microscope of the media had its toll. She had learned to embrace the attention, but there were days when she longed for a bit of normalcy, a break from the cameras, the interviews, and the paparazzi. Her choice of baggy sweats and a hoodie during her arrival in LA wasn't just about comfort. It was a deliberate effort to reclaim some sense of privacy, to keep things simple and grounded. The world might be watching, but Rihanna was still in control of how much she shared. As the car turned down a quieter street, Rihanna could see the city's skyline in the distance. She had always been drawn to Los Angeles. The energy of the city, the endless opportunities, and the creative pulse that seemed to course through every corner. It was the perfect place for someone like her, a place where she could continue to evolve, try new things, and, most importantly, find balance. But now, with a child on the way, it was also a place where she could establish a sense of stability, a home base for her growing family.